Welcome back to a quieter hour. The day has finished asking things of you. Now the night, with all its patience, is here. Lower the lights in your mind a little. Tonight, we are going to sink slowly down beneath the forest floor and into the cool living soil to wander the vast hidden web of roots and fungal threads that joins the trees together, the quiet network that underlies the whole forest. This is the Circadian Institute. We exist for the long nights, for the in-between hours when the body is ready to sleep, but the mind is still moving. Tonight our subject is the quiet science of the wood wide web, how fungi and roots are woven into one living net, how trees pass food and water to one another through the dark, and how a forest is far more connected than it ever seems from above. If this kind of slow journey suits you, subscribing keeps these nights arriving. There is nothing to learn tonight, and nothing you must remember. This is a slow journey into the hidden world beneath the forest, told as a place to rest. You only have to listen and let the cool dark of the soil fold softly around you. Under the leaves and the moss lies one of the oldest partnerships on Earth, trees and fungi woven together into a single living net. Tonight we will go down into it and look slowly around. We will follow a thread thinner than a hair across the dark, watch a tree feed water to its neighbors, and meet the largest living thing on the planet. Each thing is true and set down without hurry. Settle in. Close your eyes whenever you like. Let the voice become a slow path leading down beneath the roots, thread by thread, until you are asleep. You do not need to be awake at the end. When you walk into a forest, you see only its upper half, the trunks, the leaves, the birds, the light coming down in shafts. All of it sits above the ground in the open air. But a forest is also, and perhaps mostly, an underground place. Beneath every step is a second forest of roots, reaching down and out into the dark, as wide and busy as the branches overhead. And woven all through those roots is something stranger still, a vast fine web of fungal threads joining tree to tree under the soil. It has no name in everyday speech, so scientists gave it a playful one, the wood wide web. Through this hidden net, the trees of a forest are not the separate, lonely things they seem. They are tied together, root to root, and they pass water, food, and even messages to one another underground. Tonight we are going to go down and follow that web. We will start with the threads themselves and end with a single fungus large enough to cover a small town. There is no hurry. Let us simply begin. Bend down in your mind and take up a single teaspoon of forest soil. It looks like nothing, dark crumbs, a little damp, a few grains and fragments of leaf. Yet that 1 teaspoon may hold more living things than there are people on Earth, bacteria in their billions, and thread-like fungi whose total length, teased out, could run for many kilometers. The soil is not a dead floor that the forest stands upon. It is a living fabric, denser with life than almost anywhere above it, and most of that life is too small to see. Of all that hidden life, the fungi are the great weavers. Their threads run everywhere through the soil, binding it, exploring it, and reaching into the roots of nearly every plant around. So the ground beneath the forest is less like a floor and more like a single, enormous breathing tissue. Tonight, the teaspoon is our doorway. We are going inside it. The web is made of threads called hyphae. A single hypha is finer than a spider's silk, often only a few thousandths of a millimeter across, far too thin for the eye to follow. Each thread grows only at its very tip, pushing forward into the soil, splitting and branching as it goes. Behind the tip it leaves a trail of living thread until the whole dark is laced with them. Where many hyphae grow together, they form a soft, pale mat called the mycelium. It is the true body of the fungus, not the mushroom above, but this quiet net spread through the ground. Pull back a fallen log in a damp wood, and you may see it, a fan of fine white threads webbing the underside, faintly glistening, reaching into the rotten wood and the soil below. These threads are the roads, the mouths, and the hands of the fungus, all at once. Everything it does, feeding, joining, trading, it does through them. So it is with them that we begin. A fungus has no center. It has no head, no heart, no single place where it lives. Its body is the net itself, spread out thin across the whole patch of ground it has reached. This is a strange way to be a living thing. Imagine a creature that is all surface and no core, that thinks, if it can be said to think, with the whole of its scattered body at once. Because it grows at its many tips, the fungus is always exploring. It sends threads out into the dark in every direction, feeling for food, for water, for the roots of a plant to join. And it can change its shape with what it finds. Threads that strike something rich grow thick and many. Threads that find nothing thin away and are abandoned in their turn. So the body of a fungus is not a fixed thing, but a flowing one, a net that is forever reaching, testing, and redrawing itself across the ground, slowly under the soil. It is easy to think of fungi as a kind of plant. They grow from the ground, they do not move. Many look a little like pale flowers, but they are not plants at all. Fungi belong to a kingdom entirely their own, as separate from plants as plants are from animals, and of the two, fungi are in truth a little closer to us than they are to the trees they live among. Their threads are walled not with cellulose as plants are, but with chitin, the same tough material that forms the shell of a beetle or the claw of a crab. And they do not eat by taking food inside as animals do, nor make it from sunlight as plants do. Instead, a fungus grows into its food and digests it from the outside, drinking the food in through its thread. So a fungus is a third kind of life, with its own ancient way of living, neither rooted green plant nor moving animal, but a quiet net that feeds by growing through the world. Nothing in the fungal net is in charge. There is no brain in the mycelium, no leader among the threads, no plan written down anywhere in the dark. And yet the whole net behaves as one. It moves its food and water from place to place, grows toward what it needs, and pulls back from what harms it, all without a single point that decides. Each thread simply follows simple rules, responding to what is just around it. Out of millions of these small local choices, the behavior of the whole net comes to emerge. It is one of the deep patterns of life that order can rise from the bottom up, with no one in command. The forest's underground web is one of its oldest and largest examples. So as we go down into the wood wide web tonight, Let go of the idea of a ruler or a center. What we are entering is a calm, leaderless thing, alive everywhere and governed nowhere. Before we go deeper, let us settle here a moment, on the soft floor of the forest, with the soil cool beneath us and the trees standing still overhead. There is nothing to do here but breathe. Feel how settled the forest is. The trees do not hurry. They have stood through many winters, and they will stand through many more, rooted deep in the steady ground. Below you, the soil keeps an even coolness, and the threads run on through it without a sound. Down here there is no wind and no glare, only the slow dim hush of the deep wood. Let your breath fall into the slow time of the trees. Let your shoulders ease and your thoughts grow quiet, and your body settle a little deeper toward sleep. In a moment we will follow the threads back through time, to the day the first plants crept out of the water. For now, stay here on the forest floor and rest. Go back 400 million years, and the land is bare. The seas are full of green life, but the rock and the mud of the shore lie open to the sky, empty of any plant. The first plants to creep out of the water were small and simple, with no true roots at all. They were little more than green threads clinging to the wet stone. On dry land they faced a hard problem. The sunlight they needed was above, but the water and minerals they needed were locked in the rough ground below, out of their reach. The answer, it seems, was already waiting in the soil. Fungi had come ashore before them, and their fine threads could reach into the ground where the plants could not. And so the two made a bargain among the oldest bargains on earth. The plant would share its sunlight, the fungus would share the ground. Tonight's whole hidden web begins in that ancient handshake. That partnership of fungus and root has a name. Mycorrhiza, from old words meaning simply fungus root, it is the quiet engine of nearly every forest, field, and meadow on earth. Around 9 in every 10 kinds of land plant form it. From the tallest tree to the smallest herb, most green things on land live joined to a fungus underground. The deal is an exchange of what each is good at making. The plant, up in the light, makes sugar out of air and sunlight. The fungus, down in the dark, gathers water and minerals out of the soil. Neither could do the other's work well. A root is too thick and clumsy to mine the soil finely. A fungus cannot catch the sun, so each gives what it has and takes what it lacks. It is one of the most successful arrangements life has ever found. It is 400 million years old, and it is happening right now in the soil beneath wherever you are lying. To see why the bargain works so well, look at the difference in size. The finest plant root is broad and blunt next to a fungal thread tens of times thinner. Soil is full of tiny spaces and films of water far too small for a root to enter. The slender hyphae slip into them easily, drawing out water and minerals a root could never touch. And the threads reach far from a single root. The fungal net may spread out for many times the root's own length, searching a great volume of soil on the plant's behalf. In effect, the fungus becomes a second, far finer root system, one that can explore 100 times more ground than the plant's own roots ever could. So the plant, without growing an inch more root, suddenly drinks from a far wider world. That reach, sold cheaply for a little sugar, is the heart of the whole arrangement. The plant's side of the bargain is sugar. High in its leaves, it catches sunlight and turns air and water into sweet carbon, the fuel of nearly all life. Some of that sugar it keeps for itself, but a surprising share it sends down all the way to its roots and out into the fungal threads waiting there. The amount is not small. Many plants pass something like 1/10 to 1/3 of all the carbon they fix straight to their fungal partners beneath the ground. It is a great gift paid steadily day after day for the whole life of the plant. The forest above is, in a real sense, feeding the web below with sunlight, and in return for that steady stream of sweetness, the fungus brings up from the dark the one set of things the plant cannot make for itself: the minerals of the soil. Chief among the fungus's gifts is phosphorus, a mineral every living thing needs, and one that is often scarce, locked tight to the grains of the soil where roots can barely reach it. The fine threads find it, draw it in, and carry it back along their length to the root, handing over a steady supply the plant could never have gathered alone. The fungus brings nitrogen too, and other minerals, and a great deal of water, reaching into damp films in the soil and passing the moisture back to the thirsty plant. The plants joined to fungi grow stronger for it. They stand drought better, take up more food, and often resist disease more easily than plants left to their roots alone. The trade runs both ways through the root, hour after hour, sugar going down into the dark, water and minerals coming up into the light. Two kingdoms feeding one another in the soil. Not all of these partnerships are alike. There are two great kinds of mycorrhiza, and the difference lies in how closely the fungus joins the root. In the older and more common kind, the threads push right inside the root's own cells and branch there into tiny tree-shaped tufts, trading across that close embrace. These partner most plants on Earth. In the second kind, the fungus does not enter the cells. It wraps the root tip in a soft sheath and weaves between the cells, trading at that surface. This second kind is rarer among plants, but it clothes the great trees of the northern woods, the pines and oaks, the birches and beeches, and it is the kind that throws up mushrooms. So when you see a mushroom in a wood, you are often seeing the flower, as it were, of one of these tree partnerships, a sign of the trade going on unseen among the roots below. Let us pause again and sink a little further down below the leaf litter, below the first reach of the roots, into the cool and steady dark where the threads do their slow work. There is no day or night down here, no weather, no noise. The light of the world above never comes this far. There is only the soil holding everything close. Around you the trade goes on without a sound, sugar moving one way, water the other, minute by minute, through threads finer than thought. You do not have to follow any of it. Let it carry on in the background, the way your own heart beats while you sleep, asking nothing of you at all. Rest here as long as you like. When we move on, it will be to follow a single thread as it leaves one tree and reaches out to find another in the dark. For most of its life, a fungus stays hidden, a pale net spread through the soil or the wood. Now and then, when the time is right, it pushes up a single visible thing into the air, a mushroom. A mushroom is not the fungus itself. It is more like a fruit or a flower, an organ raised for one purpose only, to make and scatter the tiny seeds of the fungus, which we call spores. Underneath the cap, in the fine folds of the gills, the spores form in their countless millions, ripening in the cool until they are ready to fall and drift away. The mushroom rises quickly, lives a few short days, and is gone, eaten or melted back into the soil. But the great net below it remains, unbothered, ready to fruit again another season. So when you find a mushroom on the forest floor, you are seeing only a brief flowering of something far older and larger, spread out of sight all around it in the ground. A single mushroom can let go an astonishing number of spores. A large one may release tens of millions every hour, drifting out on the faintest stir of air. The giant puffball goes further still. When it splits, a single one can loose trillions of spores in a fine brown cloud, more spores than there are stars in our galaxy. Each spore is a single dust-fine cell, so light it can ride the wind for miles, even rise high into the sky and travel between countries before it ever comes down. Almost all of them will land somewhere unsuitable and come, in the end, to nothing. The vast number is the point. From millions, only a few need find the right damp ground to begin a new net. And where one does take hold, it sends out its first thin thread and begins again the slow weaving of a new mycelium below the soil, the whole hidden life starting over from a speck. Not every fungus lifts its fruit into the air. Some keep it underground, swelling in the soil among the tree roots they live with, never breaking the surface at all. These are the truffles, the buried fruiting bodies of certain tree partner fungi. Hidden from the wind, they cannot scatter their spores by air, so they take another path. As they ripen, they give off a deep, heavy scent, rich enough to seep up through the soil and carry on the air above the ground. Animals follow that scent. Squirrels, deer, wild boar, and many small creatures of the night dig up the truffle, eat it, and carry its spores away inside them to new ground. So the buried fungus trades the wind for the wanderings of animals, and its rich scent is really an invitation, sent up out of the dark, to anything that will dig. Sometimes a fungus leaves a mark we can read from above. In an old lawn or meadow, you may find a ring of mushrooms or a circle of darker, richer grass drawn neatly on the ground. People once called these fairy rings and told stories about them. The truth beneath is quieter and stranger. The ring is the edge of a single fungus growing outward in the soil. From a spore at the center long ago, the mycelium spread out evenly in every direction, year by year, using up the soil behind it and pushing always to the fresh ground at its rim. The mushrooms appear only along that growing edge, where the fungus is youngest and most active, tracing the circle a little wider each year. Some rings have widened slowly for centuries, and a few of the oldest may be many hundreds of years across. The fairy ring is simply a fungus, drawing its own long age upon the If a fungus can spread in a ring for centuries, how large can one grow? The answer is kept in the mountains of Oregon, in the western United States, and it is hard to believe. There, beneath the forest, lives a single honey fungus, one connected individual grown from one spore whose hidden net spreads across about 9 square kilometers of ground. By area, it is the largest living thing ever found on Earth, larger than any whale, any tree, any other creature we know, a single organism the size of many hundreds of football fields. It may weigh hundreds of tons, and it is old beyond easy thought, somewhere between 2,500 and perhaps 8,000 years, growing slowly through the soil the whole time. Above it, the forest looks like any other. Almost all of this immense, ancient creature stays hidden below the ground, a quiet giant, known only by the threads it leaves in the ground. The great Oregon fungus reminds us that the web keeps a slower clock than we do. Where an animal's life is counted in years, a fungal net may be counted in centuries. It does not rush. A thread creeps forward by a fraction of a millimeter at a time, and the whole net widens only a little each year, with no need for haste. This slowness is part of its strength. A net that lives for centuries can wait out drought and frost, recover from damage, and outlast the trees that come and go above it. Whole trees may sprout, grow tall, and die back to earth while a single fungus below them carries steadily on, joining each new generation of roots in its turn. So as we go deeper, keep that slow time in mind. The web beneath the forest is in no hurry at all, and tonight neither are you. Let us rest again here, kneeling in your mind on the damp floor of the wood, among a scatter of pale mushrooms in the dim light. The air is cool and smells of earth and rain. There is nothing here that needs you. The mushrooms stand on their own, doing their slow and silent work, asking nothing and hurrying nowhere. Let the cool and the dimness settle over you like a thin blanket. The wood holds its breath at this hour, and you may let yours grow slow and even with it. If your thoughts wander, let them wander downward into the dark soil beneath the mushrooms, where the threads run on without a sound and everything is held close. When you're ready, we will follow those threads outward from one tree to the next and find that the forest is far more joined than it looks. Until then, stay among the mushrooms and rest. So far, we have watched a fungus join itself to a single plant. But a fungal net rarely stops at one. Its threads run on through the soil and reach the roots of the next plant and the next. One fungus then may be joined at the same time to many plants, a whole stand of trees, and the seedlings and herbs between them, all sharing the same underground net. And a single tree, in turn, is rarely joined to only one fungus. Its roots may carry dozens of different fungal partners, each reaching off to its own web of neighbors. Knit these together, and the whole forest floor becomes a single, overlapping fabric. Trees joined to fungi, joined to trees, in a net with no clear edge. This shared fabric has a plain name, a common mycorrhizal network. It is the true wood wide web, and through it, what happens to one tree need not stay with that tree alone. Think of what a shared net makes possible. If two trees are joined through the same fungus, then a thing passed into the net by one of them might be drawn out again by the other. Water gathered by the fungus for one tree can reach a second. Minerals mined from the soil for one root can travel to another. The net does not keep strict accounts of which tree is which. Even sugar, the carbon a tree makes in its leaves and pays down into the soil, can, under the right conditions, pass through the fungus and into a neighboring tree. For a long time this was only suspected. The threads were too fine, the soil too dark, to watch the trade directly. It took a careful experiment in a real forest to show it plainly. That experiment, done among the birches and firs of Western Canada, changed how we picture a forest. It is worth telling slowly, so let us go to it next. In the forests of British Columbia, a young scientist named Suzanne Simard set out to test a simple, daring question. Could one tree feed another through the fungi in the soil? She grew paper birch and Douglas fir side by side, knowing their roots shared the same fungal partners and gave each a different, traceable form of carbon to breathe in. One tree took in carbon marked in one way, the other a carbon marked another way, so that any carbon passing between them could later be told apart and followed. When she checked, the marked carbon had crossed. Carbon breathed in by the birch was found in the fir, and the fir's carbon in the birch, both moving through the shared fungal net. It was among the first clear sightings of trees trading carbon underground through fungi. The picture of the lonely competing tree gave way at last to something more joined. The direction of that trade was not random. More carbon tended to flow from the tree with plenty to the tree with less, from sun to shade, from the well-fed to the wanting. A birch standing in full sun, making sugar in abundance, could pass some of its surplus through the fungi to a fir struggling in the shade nearby. And the trade could turn with the seasons. When the birch dropped its leaves in autumn and made no sugar, the evergreen fir, still green, could send a little carbon back the other way. None of it is large, set against all a tree makes in a year, but it is real and steady, and it runs unseen beneath the forest floor where no eye can see it. It suggests a forest is not only a crowd of rivals reaching for the same light, but also in part a web of quiet sharing beneath the ground. In any old forest there are a few great trees, far older and larger than the rest. Their roots run wide, and they are joined to more of the fungal net than any young tree could be. Because they touch so much of the web, these old trees sit at the center of many connections, linked through the soil to dozens or even hundreds of the smaller trees around them. Scientists came to call them hub trees, and sometimes more warmly mother trees, the well-connected elders of the wood, tied into the lives of the seedlings at their feet. Through the shared net, an old tree appears able to send a little carbon and water to the young trees nearby, most of all to those struggling in its own shade. How far this kindness truly reaches is still being measured, and good scientists still argue over it, but that the old trees are deeply joined to the young is no longer in doubt. A seedling on the forest floor has a hard beginning. It sprouts in deep shade under the great roof of leaves, with little light to make sugar of its own. On its own it might fail, but the moment its first roots meet the fungal net already spread through the soil, it is no longer entirely alone. Joined to the web, it can draw water and minerals far beyond its tiny reach, and perhaps take in a little carbon passed down from the larger trees that share the net. In this way, the older forest helps carry its young through their first dim years until they grow tall enough to reach the light and make their own way. So the web is not only a net of trade between equals, it is also in part how a forest raises the next forest from below, out of sight, in the shade of the old trees. Let us rest now at the foot of one of those great old trees, with our back against its wide trunk and the cool ground beneath us, and simply be still here for a while. Feel the size and age of the tree at your back. It has stood here longer than anyone now living, drawing slow circles of growth, season upon season, in no hurry at all. Below you, its roots run out in every direction, joined to the web, tied to a whole quiet family of younger trees it has never seen and will never know. There is a deep steadiness here. Let it pass into you. Let your breath slow to the long, even rhythm of the tree, and your weight settle into the ground. Soon we will go down to watch the trade itself more closely and find that it behaves almost like a market. For now, lean on the old tree and let yourself grow heavy with sleep. Look closely at the trade between root and fungus, and something remarkable appears. It is not a fixed automatic swap. It behaves more like a market with give and take on both sides. Each partner has something the other wants, sugar on one side, minerals on the other, and each, it seems, can adjust how much it gives depending on what it gets in return. In careful experiments, plants given a choice of fungal partners sent more of their sugar to the fungi that delivered more phosphorus, and less to the ones that delivered little. And the fungi did much the same in return, moving more of their minerals toward the roots that paid them best in sugar. Each side rewarded the better trading partner. No one is keeping books down there, of course. Yet out of all this give and take rises something that looks a great deal like fair trade, a market run with no money and no minds. A market needs a sense of worth, and the fungal net appears to have one. A mineral that is scarce in one patch of soil is, in effect, worth more there than where it is common. The threads seem to respond to this. A fungus can move phosphorus across its net, carrying it from where it is plentiful toward the roots and regions where it is most in need. In doing so, it can ask a better return where its goods are scarcest, trading the same mineral for more sugar in the places where that mineral is hardest to find. It is trade following need, worked out with no thought at all, only the simple responses of threads to what lies around them, repeated across the whole vast net. That such a balance can arise from blind threads underground is one of the quiet wonders of the soil, an economy without a single trader who understands it. No plant in a forest trades with only one fungus, and no fungus with only one plant. Each is tied into many partners at once, a whole spread of dealings running side by side. This crowd of partners is a kind of safety. If one fungal partner fails, or one patch of soil runs dry, a plant still has others on the line to draw upon. It also keeps any one partner from holding too much power. With many fungi competing to trade, a plant can favor the best of them, and none can charge too dearly. And it ties the whole forest tighter. Through this overlap of many partners, a single fungus may reach across to plants of wholly different kinds, joining the unlike into one net. So the web is not a set of neat, separate pairs. It is a dense and tangled marketplace, every member trading with many, all at the same time below the ground. It is tempting to call all this generosity as if the trees were being kind, but it is wiser and truer to call it trade. Each partner is seeing to its own needs. The tree feeds the fungus because the fungus feeds it back. The fungus carries minerals because minerals buy sugar. The web holds together because the trade serves everyone in it. Even an old tree feeding a seedling may be serving the whole forest it belongs to, and its own fungal partners who gain from every new root drawn into the net. Seen this way, the web is no gentler and no crueler than any living thing. It is simply a vast web of need, meeting need, worked out slowly over hundreds of millions of years. And there is a quiet beauty in that. No kindness is required for the forest to share. The sharing falls out of the trade itself, as surely as water finds its level. Let us pause once more and simply rest in the middle of all this slow trade, the way you might sit alone in a market at evening after the crowds have gone and the noise has died away. Around you, the exchange goes on even now, minerals drifting one way, sugar the other, but it makes no sound and it needs nothing from you. There is comfort in a thing that runs so well on its own. The web has balanced itself for ages without help, and it will go on balancing while you sleep. Let that ease settle into you. You do not have to hold anything together tonight. You can set it all down and let the slow exchange of the soil carry on without you. When we carry on, it will be to listen for something stranger still, the messages and warnings that seem to pass between plants through the web. Until then, rest in the steady dark. The web may carry more than food and water. There are signs that it can carry news, that a warning raised by one plant can reach the plants joined to it through the soil. In careful tests, when one plant was attacked by hungry aphids, neighboring plants sharing its fungal net began to ready their own defenses before any aphid had reached them. The forewarned plants started making the bitter chemicals that repel such pests, and even the scents that call in the aphid's enemies, as if they had heard the alarm and prepared. Plants left unconnected to the net, with no fungal link to the attacked one, raised no such defense. The warning, it seems, had traveled underground through the shared threads. Exactly how the message passes is still being studied, but the result is clear enough. Through the web, a wound to one plant can become a warning to many. Plants have other ways to warn each other too, that work hand in hand with the web. Chief among them is scent, the chemicals a wounded plant lets off into the air. A leaf being eaten releases a puff of volatile compounds, a kind of chemical cry. Plants downwind can catch it and begin to steal themselves, much as the web-linked ones do below. Above ground by scent, below ground by thread, the message is much the same. Trouble has come, and it is wise to prepare. The plant world is quietly full of such signals. It changes how we should picture a meadow or a wood. It is not a silent place where each plant stands alone, but a place threaded with quiet messages on the air and in the soil. None of it is speech as we know it, but it is communication of a real kind, information passing from life to life, warning the many of what has happened to the few. On the dim floor of an old forest you may, if you are lucky, find a strange plant, pure waxy white from root to flower, with no green in it at all. People call it ghost pipe. Its whiteness is a clue. Green is the color of the pigment that catches sunlight, and this plant has none. It cannot make a single grain of sugar for itself. So how does it live? It cheats. Its roots tap into the fungal net that joins the green trees, and it draws its food from them, sugar made by the trees passed through the fungus stolen by the ghost. It gives the fungus nothing in return. Where the trees pay sugar for minerals, the ghost pipe simply takes, living its whole pale life on the labor of the forest around it. There are many such thieves among the plants, pale and rootless seeming, living off the web. They show that the same net that lets a forest share can also be robbed in silence. Even some of the most admired flowers keep a fungal secret. Many orchids cannot begin life at all without a fungus to feed them through their first dark days. An orchid seed is almost nothing, a speck of dust with no store of food packed inside it, far too small to sprout on its own as a bean or an acorn does. It can only grow if the right fungus finds it and threads into it, feeding the tiny seed with sugar and minerals until the young orchid is able to make leaves and live. For its first months and sometimes years, the orchid lives wholly on its fungus, much as the ghost pipe does, a green plant that begins its life as a quiet thief. Only later, grown and leafed, does it begin to pay its own way in sunlight. The beauty of the orchid above rests on a hidden debt to the fungus below. The web, then, is not a simple tale of fair trade alone. Running through it are takers as well as givers, plants and fungi that bend the exchange to their own gain. Some fungi may take a plant's sugar and return little. Some plants, like the ghost pipe, take and give nothing back. The net is full of such small dishonesties. And yet the whole thing holds together, because each plant and fungus has many partners and favors the ones that deal well. The cheats are kept in check and never quite take over. It is much like any large market of living things. There is no perfect fairness, only a rough and shifting balance held by the many honest dealings outweighing the few false ones. That such a tangled mix of trade and theft should settle into something stable, age after age, with no one steering it, is among the quiet marvels of the soil. It is easy hearing all this to go too far, to imagine the forest as a great green mind, the web as its internet, the trees talking and thinking and deciding. It is wise to be careful here. There is no mind in the web. No thread plans, no tree intends, no fungus knows. What looks like wisdom is the sum of countless blind responses worked out by simple chemistry underground. And the science is still young. Careful researchers remind us that some popular claims have run ahead of the evidence, and that much about the web is still uncertain and argued over. This does not make the web less wonderful. A forest joined by trade and warning, with no mind anywhere in it, is stranger and finer than any fairy tale of talking trees. So we will hold both things at once tonight, deep wonder at the web and an honest calm about what we do not yet know. The truth is marvel enough, just as it is. Let us linger here a while in the hush of the night wood, and simply listen, not for words, for there are none, but for the slow sense of a place that is alive all the way down. Below you the messages run on, a warning here, a trade there, too slow and too small for any ear. The wood keeps its own quiet conversation and asks nothing of you to do so. Let the stillness of the night settle over you. There is nothing here you must answer, nothing you must understand. You may simply lie in the dark and let it all carry on. Feel your breath grow slow and even in time with the long, calm pulse of the wood. Let each out-breath carry you a little further down toward sleep. When we go further, it will be to watch the web do its oldest work of all, turning what has died back into the living soil. Until then, rest and listen to the quiet. Not all fungi live joined to roots. A great many live another way entirely as the forest's recyclers, feeding on what has died and fallen and breaking it back down into the soil. Every autumn, a forest drops a heavy weight of dead leaves, twigs, and whole fallen trees. Without something to break them down, the forest would slowly bury itself in its own remains. The fungi are that something. Their threads grow into the dead matter and pour out chemicals that take it apart, drinking in the freed food and leaving the rest to crumble into earth. Bit by bit, a fallen leaf softens, darkens, and dissolves into the soil, its substance handed back to the living forest to be used again by the roots above. So the same kingdom that feeds the living trees also unmakes the dead ones, closing the great circle by which a forest turns its own ending back into its beginning. Of all the things a forest must recycle, the hardest is wood. A fallen trunk is bound together by a tough, stubborn substance called lignin, which almost nothing alive can break. Few creatures even try, but certain fungi can, and very nearly alone among all life, they hold the chemistry to take lignin apart and unlock the wood within. Their threads spread through the dead trunk for years, softening it from the inside, until a log you could once stand on crumbles at a touch into soft red dust. Long ago, before such fungi had fully evolved, dead trees did not rot well. They piled up and were buried whole, and much of the world's coal is the wood of those undecayed ancient forests. So the wood-rotting fungi changed the very chemistry of the planet. By learning to eat wood, they kept the forests from drowning in their own fallen timber, and they do that work still. Every leaf and trunk a fungus breaks down was built from minerals the tree drew up over its life. When the fungus unmakes it, those minerals are set free again into the soil. Without this returning, a forest would slowly starve. Each tree would lock its share of the soil's riches into wood and lay it down dead, and the living would be left with less and less. The decomposers prevent that. They reach into the dead, free the locked minerals, and hand them back to the mycorrhizal threads, which carry them up once more into living roots. So the death of one tree becomes, in time, the food of the next. The fallen giant of one century feeds the saplings of the following one through the slow work of the fungi between. It is the forest's deepest economy, nothing wasted, nothing lost, everything used and used again, and the fungi are the quiet keepers of its books. The fungi shape the soil itself, not only what flows through it. The mycorrhizal threads make a sticky substance that binds loose grains of earth into small, crumbly clumps. This glue holds the soil open and crumbly rather than packed and hard. Between the crumbs lie spaces for air and water, the very gaps in which roots and threads can breathe and grow. A soil rich in fungal glue drinks in rain and holds it, resists being washed away, and stays soft enough for new roots to push through with ease. Strip the fungi away, and the crumbs collapse. The soil packs down hard, sheds its water, and blows or washes off, which is part of why broken ground turns so easily to dust. So the fungi are not only the traders and recyclers of the forest, they are also thread by thread the makers and keepers of the living soil that holds it all up. There is more carbon held in the world's soils than in all its plants and all its air together. A great share of that buried carbon is put there and kept there by fungi. Every day, trees pour sugar down into their fungal partners. Much of that carbon ends up woven into threads and soil glue, locked into the ground rather than rising back into the sky. By recent estimates, the mycorrhizal fungi take in, each year, an amount of carbon on the order of a third of what humans release from burning fuel, a vast, quiet draw into the soil. Not all of it stays. Some returns to the air as the soil breathes, but a real and lasting share is held below for years, decades, sometimes centuries in the work of the threads. So the hidden web is one of the great keepers of the world's carbon, a thing we are only now learning to value, spread silently beneath nearly every forest and field on Earth. The web shapes water as surely as it shapes carbon. Its threads draw moisture from the finest pores of the soil and pass it to the roots, long after the larger spaces have run dry. In a drought, a tree joined to fungi can hold on where a tree alone might wilt, reaching through its partners into reserves of water its own roots could never find. And the crumbly, fungus-built soil itself holds rain like a sponge, soaking up the downpour and letting it go slowly, so the forest is fed between the storms. By steadying the water this way, the web helps a forest weather both the dry spell and the flood, smoothing the hard edges of the weather into something the trees can bear. So through the threads, the forest meets the sky's uneven gifts of rain with a deep, even patience of its own, water saved below the ground against the days of thirst. Let us rest once more here, where the old wood of the forest is slowly becoming new soil. Sit a while by a soft, mossy log half returned to the earth and be still. There is no sadness in this slow undoing. The fallen tree is not lost. It is being handed back leaf by leaf and grain by grain to the living forest all around it. Everything here is turning, unhurried, into something else, in no hurry, with no waste. The dark soil beneath you is made of 1,000 seasons handed on in just this way. Let that slow turning ease you, Whatever the day asked of you is already passing. Like a leaf to the soil, you can let it fall and let yourself settle into the quiet ground. Soon we will rise up and out to see how wide this web runs across the whole face of the world. For now, rest by the old log and let go. Step back now from this one forest and picture the whole earth. Nearly everywhere that plants grow, this partnership of root and fungus grows with them under the soil. It lies beneath the great forests, yes, but also beneath the grasslands, the meadows, the farm fields, and even in its own forms, the edges of the desert and the cold ground near the pole. Wherever it grows, it is doing the same quiet work, trading sugar for minerals, joining plant to plant, building and holding the soil, keeping the green world fed from below. Scientists have begun to map it across the whole planet, and the picture is staggering. A single kind of underground partnership wrapped around almost all the land there is. So the wood wide web is not one forest's secret. It is a feature of the living earth itself, a hidden net spread in one form or another under nearly every field you have ever crossed. This includes the fields that feed us. Most of the crops we live on, the wheat and the rice, the beans and the fruit trees, form the same partnership with fungi in the soil. For 10,000 years of farming, those hidden partners helped feed every harvest, drawing up phosphorus and water for the crops, unseen and unthanked beneath the rows. Modern farming, though, can be hard on them. Heavy plowing tears the fungal net apart, and some chemicals kill it outright, so that the crop must be fed by hand what the fungi once supplied. Farmers and scientists are learning this anew, that tending the fungi by plowing less and keeping the soil alive can grow stronger crops with less strain on the land. So the web is not only the forest's affair, it lies beneath our daily bread as well, an old partner of the human harvest, waiting unseen in the soil to be remembered. The fungi reach even into bare rock. Their threads press into the tiny cracks of stone and let off acids that slowly dissolve it, prizing free the minerals locked inside. Grain by grain, over long ages, this helps turn solid rock into soil. The fungi are among the slow makers of the very ground that the forests will one day stand upon. It is a partnership older than the forests themselves. When the first plants crept ashore, fungi were already at work on the bare stone, coaxing the first thin soils out of the rock. And it continues now, wherever rock meets root. On a fresh mountain slope or a new volcanic field, the fungi and the small pioneer plants begin together to make the ground anew. So the web does not merely use the soil. Across ages we can hardly imagine. It helps make the soil, turning the hard bones of the planet slowly into living earth. On bare rock and old bark you have surely seen lichen, those crusts and frills of gray, green, and gold that cling where almost nothing else can grow. A lichen is not one creature but two, living as one, a fungus and a tiny green alga, woven so closely together that they look and act like a single being. The alga, like a plant, makes sugar from sunlight. The fungus gives it shelter, water, and a grip on the bare stone. It is the same old bargain sugar for a home made plain to the eye. Together they can live where neither could alone, on naked rock, on frozen ground, high on wind-scoured peaks, even clinging to the stones of old walls and gravestones. Lichens are the forerunners. They soften the bare rock, make the first crumbs of soil, and prepare the way for the mosses and plants, and in time, the forests that follow. Some fungi do a stranger thing still. They glow, deep in certain damp forests. At night, the wood and the mushrooms give off a faint, steady green-white light of their own. People have known it for ages and given it old names: foxfire or the cold fire of the woods. A rotting log threaded with such fungi can shine softly enough to read by. The light is real and chemical, the same kind of cold glow that a firefly makes, produced by the living threads as they feed within the wood. Why they glow is still not fully known. The light may call in insects of the night to carry the spores away, turning the dark itself into a way to travel. Whatever the reason, it is a quiet wonder, a forest that in its darkest hour and deepest places lights its own small lamps low among the fallen leaves. Let us rest one last time before the end, here in the deep night forest, with the faint green glow of the fungi low among the leaves and the dark trees standing all around. How far we have come, and how little we had to do. We have followed a thread from a single spore to a web around the whole world, and only had to listen. Let the night hold you now as the soil holds the threads. There is nothing left to learn tonight, and nothing left to do but let go and sink the last of the way down. Feel how small and safe a thing it is to rest above the quiet earth while the web keeps its slow work below. Let your breath grow long and your body grow heavy. In a moment we will say good night, and the rest of the way is yours to drift alone. For now, lie still under the glow of the wood and let sleep come. We have followed the fungi that join the roots, but they are only a small part of their kingdom. Fungi are one of the great branches of life, as wide and varied as the animals or the plants. No one knows how many kinds there are. Scientists guess at somewhere between 2 and 4 million species of fungi on Earth, and of all those, only a small fraction have ever been named. They take almost every shape: threads in the soil, cups and brackets on wood, molds on fruit, the single tiny cells of yeast, and forms too small or strange to have a common name at all. Most of this kingdom lives unseen, as threads and spores, and surfaces only now and then as a mushroom. For every fungus we notice, 100 go out of sight about their lives below. So the web beneath the forest opens onto something vaster still, a whole hidden kingdom, mostly nameless, woven through the soil and the wood of the entire living world. You are never far from a fungus. Their spores ride the air at all times, in their thousands in every cubic meter, indoors and out, over land and sea alike. With every breath you take, you draw some of them in. They settle on every surface, waiting for the damp and the food that will let a few of them begin to grow. It is why bread left out grows its bloom of mould, why a fallen fruit softens and furs over, why a damp wall will sprout its faint dark patches. The spores were already there, only waiting. This is not something to fear. It is simply the truth of a living world, that the air itself is seeded with fungi, ready to take back whatever is left still and damp for long. So the kingdom we have been visiting underground is, in truth, all around us, always drifting on the air of the very room where you are lying now, quiet and harmless in the dark. Long before there were trees, the tallest living things on land may have been fungi. 400 million years ago, strange towers rose from the bare early ground. We call them proto-taxites. Some stood as tall as a house, up to 8 meters high and a meter thick, in a world whose plants were barely knee-high. For a long time, no one knew what they were. Only careful study of their fossils settled it. These vast pillars were most likely enormous fungi, the giants of their age. They towered over a quiet, almost empty land of moss and low green threads, feeding on what had died around them for tens of millions of years. Then the true plants grew tall, the forests rose, and the towers passed away. But for an age, the largest things standing on all the earth were fungi, and in hidden ways they still are. The fungi are not only beneath the plant, many live inside it, threading quietly through the leaves and stems of nearly every plant on earth, doing no harm and often much good. These hidden guests are called endophytes. They live within the living tissues, asking little, and in return they often help defend their host against pests and disease. Some make bitter chemicals that turn grazing insects away. Some help the plant bear drought or heat or poor ground. The plant is stronger for carrying them, though it never shows. So a single plant is rarely a single thing. It is more like a small community, green tissue above, fungal partners below at the roots, and more fungi woven all through its leaves. Everywhere we look, the line between plant and fungus blurs. The two have lived joined for so long that in a real sense there is no such thing as a plant entirely alone. Humans are proud of our farming, but we were far from the first to grow fungi for food. Certain insects have farmed them underground for tens of millions of years. Deep in their nests, leafcutter ants tend gardens of a fungus we find nowhere else. They cut and carry leaves not to eat, but to feed the fungus, and then they eat the fungus in turn. In Africa, some termites do much the same, raising tall earthen mounds above great fungus gardens and growing their own kind of mushroom in the warm dark within. These farmer insects and their fungi cannot live without each other now. Over the long ages, the two have grown into a single partnership, neither able to go back to living alone. So the deep idea of growing fungi for food is far older than our kind. We are only the latest and the loudest of the gardeners who have learned to live by the quiet labor of the threads. There is a tender thing that seems to happen when a great tree comes to the end of its life. As it dies, it appears to give much of what it has left away, down into the web. Studies of dying firs found that in their last season, they sent a surge of their carbon out through the fungal net toward the young trees, and neighbors joined to them. It is as though the old tree, no longer able to use its store, passes it on to the forest it leaves behind, a last gift given without a word into the dark before the end. Scientists are careful here, for the web is hard to read, and not every claim has held, but the sign of that final sharing has been seen more than once, and it is a moving thing to consider. Whether gift or simply chemistry, the effect is the same. The substance of the old tree does not vanish. It flows on into the forest's young, and the wood goes on. Stranger still, there are signs that an old tree may know its own. In some experiments, mother trees seem to favor the seedlings grown from their own seed over unrelated ones nearby. Through the shared net, the related seedlings appeared to receive more carbon and to grow a little stronger than strangers planted at the same distance. How a tree could tell kin from stranger underground is not understood, and the finding is still debated. The roots and fungi may carry some chemical signature we have not yet read. It is the kind of claim that asks for caution, and good scientists give it. But even the possibility is striking that a forest might tend its own families through the dark. True or not in every case, it points the same way as everything else tonight, toward a forest far more joined and far less lonely than the still trees ever let us see. When fire sweeps a forest, it seems to leave only black ground and ash. Yet much of the web survives deep in the cool soil below the reach of the flames. Beneath the scorched surface, the fungal threads wait, unburned, holding the soil together and keeping its riches in place where wind and rain would otherwise carry them off. When the first green shoots return, their roots meet that waiting web and join it at once, drawing on a net the burned forest left ready for them in the ground. Some fungi do even more, fruiting in a rush after fire as though the heat itself were a signal to begin again. The morel is one such fire follower rising thickly on the burned ground. So even fire does not undo the web. It bends and waits and is ready underneath, so that a forest brought to ash above can rise again from the living net below. On any new or broken ground, a fresh sandbar, a cooled lava field, a cleared slope, the fungi are among the first life to arrive, drifting in as spores on the wind. They begin the slow work of making the place fit to live in, binding the loose ground, drawing the first minerals from the bare grains, preparing a thin soil where nothing grew. Soon the pioneer plants follow, and at once their roots find the fungi waiting, and the old partnership begins anew on ground that was lifeless the year before. Step by step, the bare place greens, moss, then herbs, then shrubs, then in their long time the trees, each generation building the soil a little deeper for the next. And under all of it, from the very first thread, runs the web, the quiet founder of new forests, weaving the living ground that everything else will stand upon. Let us pause here, on new ground greening for the first time, and rest among the small brave pioneers, the moss, the first shoots, the threads binding the bare earth. There is something restful in a beginning. No history to carry, no weight of the past, only the slow, sure making of something where before there was nothing. Let that ease of a fresh start settle over you. Whatever the day held is behind you now. Tonight the ground is bare and quiet, and you may simply begin to rest. Feel the long patience of the founders who build a forest grain by grain across the years. Let your own breathing slow to that unhurried pace, and your body grows still. When we move on, it will be the last part of our journey, what the web means for us, and how it may teach us to see a forest anew. For now, rest on the new ground. The mushrooms we picture, a round cap on a slender stalk, are only one shape among many. The fungi raise their fruiting bodies in a great variety of forms, each suited to its own way of scattering spores. Some spread their spores from fine gills beneath the cap, some from a layer of tiny pores like a sponge, some from soft spines that hang downward in pale teeth. Others take stranger shapes still, brackets like shelves on the sides of trees, cups and saucers on the ground, clubs and corals rising in branching tufts from the leaf litter. Each form is an answer to the same question: how to lift the spores to where the air or the rain or an animal can carry them off, solved 100 different ways across the kingdom. So a walk through an old wood is a quiet gallery of these forms, each one the brief visible flower of a hidden net, raised for a few days and then given back to the soil. Some fungi go to remarkable lengths to spread their spores. The stinkhorn raises a slender stalk topped with a dark, sticky cap that gives off a powerful smell of rotting flesh. The smell is no accident. It calls in the flies who land to feed, pick up the sticky spores on their feet and carry them away, the fungus using the flies much as a flower uses bees. The little bird's nest fungi take another path entirely. They grow as tiny open cups, each holding what look like minute eggs, set out on wood or soil. When a raindrop strikes the cup just right, it splashes the little spore packets out and away, flinging them a surprising distance to new ground. The rain itself becomes their wings. From scent to splash, the fungi have found every trick to move their spores, borrowing the flies, the rain, the wind, and the wandering of animals to carry their quiet seed across the world. The truffles, berried and richly scented, have long drawn more than wild animals. For centuries, people have hunted them too, prizing them as one of the rarest foods of the forest. Once, farmers used pigs to find them. A sow follows the truffle's scent eagerly through the wood, though she is just as eager to eat the prize the moment she digs it up. Now most hunters use dogs instead, trained to catch the deep scent and to dig, then to wait gentler on the truffle and easier to call away from the fine. It is a quiet kind of hunting, done at dawn in the cool of the wood, following a scent up out of the dark soil to the hidden fruit of a fungus joined to the roots of the trees. And every truffle found is a reminder of the web below, that the richest treasures of the forest are sometimes not in its branches at all, but buried out of sight among its roots. Not all the gifts of the fungi come from the forest floor. One of the greatest came from a humble mould, the kind that grows as a blue-green fur on old bread and fruit. Long ago, a scientist noticed that where one such mould grew on a dish, the bacteria around it would not. The mould was making something that kept them at bay. That something became the first true antibiotic, a medicine drawn from a fungus, which has since saved more lives than almost any other discovery in the history of healing. The mold had not made it for us, of course. It made it to defend itself in the crowded soil, where fungi and bacteria have warred and bargained for hundreds of millions of years. We simply found it and learned from it. It is one more quiet debt we owe this kingdom, that a smear of mold on forgotten bread held within it a key to so much healing. There is a fungus you have almost certainly eaten today, though you never saw it. It is the yeast, a fungus so small it lives as single, separate cells, too tiny for the eye. Mixed into dough, the yeast feeds on the flour and breathes out a fine froth of bubbles, and it is those bubbles caught in the dough that lift a flat paste into soft risen bread. The same small fungus, set to work on fruit or grain, turns their sugars into wine and beer, a quiet chemistry humans have used, knowingly or not, for many thousands of years. It is among the oldest of all our partnerships with another living thing, older than most of our cities, woven into the daily bread of nearly every people on earth. So the kingdom of the web is not only beneath the far forest, it rises in the bread on the table and rests unseen in the daily life of your own warm kitchen. Leave the forest now and walk out into open grassland, and the web comes with you. Beneath the waving grass runs the same partnership, joining root to fungus through the deep, dark soil. Grasses send their roots down deep and wide, and their fungal partners deeper still, weaving the loose earth of the plains into a thick, dark, fertile soil over the long years. The great grasslands of the world hold some of the richest soils there are, built grain by roots and fungi, and storing within them a vast, quiet share of the world's carbon. When such grasslands are plowed too hard, that deep web is broken, and the dark soil thins and blows away, as it has in living memory in some of the great dust storms of the past. So whether you stand in a deep wood or an open field of grass, the same truth holds beneath your feet. A hidden net is binding the soil and feeding the green world in the unhurried dark. Let us settle here one last time, sinking back down into the wide quiet of the soil, with all its many lands and forms now spread out behind us, and nothing ahead but sleep. From the cold north to the warm tropics, from the deep wood to the open grass, it is all the same enduring dark down here, the same threads, the same slow trade, the same holding of the ground. You have traveled the whole world tonight without leaving your bed, and everywhere you went, the web was already there, at work below the leaves beneath the green. Now let the traveling end. Let the many places fold back into this one quiet dark, and let yourself settle into it, held and still with nothing left to reach for. In a little while we will speak of the long ages of the web, and then say good night for now. Rest in the wide quiet of the soil and let your breath grow slow. In early spring, before the great trees have opened their leaves, the floor of a wood can fill with small wildflowers racing to bloom while the light still reaches the ground. These early flowers have little time and little strength of their own. Many lean hard on the fungal net, drawing food and minerals from it to fuel their brief, bright rush to bloom. Some, joined to the same web as the trees above them, may even draw on what those trees have stored, borrowing from the wood's deep reserves to flower in the cold early days. When the canopy closes overhead and the shade falls, the little flowers fade back, their season done. But underground, their link to the web goes on through the year, unmarked. So even the first flowers of the year are part of the hidden net, woven like everything else in the wood into the quiet trade and sharing of the soil below. Travel far to the cold north, into the great belt of pine and spruce that rings the top of the world, and you reach a land the fungi rule almost completely beneath the snow. In these cold, acid soils, the trees lean on their fungal partners more than almost anywhere, for here the dead matter rots slowly, and the minerals are locked tight in the chilled ground. The fungal threads do the steady work the cold would otherwise prevent, freeing food from the frozen litter and carrying it to the roots through the long, dim winters. Above the soil, pale reindeer lichen carpets the ground for miles, that two-in-one of fungus and alga, and through the deep winter it feeds the great herds of caribou that paw it from the snow. So even in the cold lands where life seems thin and slow, the web holds the forest together, quietly feeding the dark northern woods through winters longer than any we know. Now go to the other end of the world's warmth, into the deep rainforest, where the air is thick and wet, and the green life crowds in past all counting. Here the web is busier than anywhere. In the warm, wet soil, the fungi break down the fallen leaves almost as fast as they fall, and feed the riches straight back up into the towering trees. The variety of fungi here is staggering. Many thousands of kinds in a single patch of forest, each woven to its own plants in a tangle of partnerships beyond our full reckoning. Some great rainforest trees grow in groves of their own kind, held together and fed by a shared net of fungi that favors their seedlings and helps them hold the ground. So, from the frozen north to the steaming tropics, the same old partnership runs on, changing its forms to fit each land, but always joining root to fungus and life to life beneath the soil. Stand in one place in an old forest and consider how far the net beneath you might reach. A single fungal individual can spread through the soil across a great stretch of ground. Its threads may join dozens of trees weaving in and out of their roots, so that a whole grove can share one connected net spun by one fungus over many slow years. And many such fungi overlap in the same soil, their nets crossing and tangling, until the ground beneath a forest is layered with web upon web, all woven through one another. To stand on such ground is to stand on something almost past imagining, a single connected fabric of life spread wide and deep, holding the whole wood in a net we will never fully map. It is enough simply to know it is there, that under each quiet step lies a reach of threads wider than the forest looks, joining far more than the eye could ever guess. Lift back now to the whole earth, and the web takes on a larger meaning still. For 400 million years, plants and their fungi have worked together upon the very air of the planet. Together they draw carbon down out of the sky and lock much of it into wood and root, and the deep, dark soil the fungi help to build and hold. Over the long ages, that slow drawing down helped cool and clear the air and shape the breathable, temperate world that every animal, ourselves among them, would later come to live in. And it goes on now. Every forest with its hidden web is steadily keeping the balance of the air a little steadier, drawing in carbon, holding it in the ground, breathing slow against the seasons. So the small threads in the dark are tied, in the end, to the breath of the whole living world, a quiet, vast work going on beneath every forest while the rest of us sleep. Of all the partnerships life has made, this one of root and fungus may be the most important, and is surely among the oldest, a friendship struck before there were forests, and kept ever since. It asked nothing grand of either side, only that the plant share a little of its sunlight, and the fungus share a little of the ground, each giving what came easily and taking what was hard. From that small, fair bargain grew nearly everything green upon the land. The forests, the grasslands, the fields that feed us, the whole living skin of the continents. It is a quiet lesson written 400 million years deep into the soil, that the great things of this world are often built not on struggle alone, but on partnership, kept faithfully over time. And it is still being kept tonight in the dark beneath you, the oldest friendship on land, root, and fungus, quietly holding the green world up while you drift toward sleep. Not every spore that lands begins to grow at once. Many simply wait, resting where they fell, holding still through cold and drought until the world around them turns right for life. A spore is built to endure. Wrapped in a tough coat, it can survive a hard freeze, a long dry spell, even years of waiting, with its small spark of life banked low and safe inside. Then the rain comes, or the warmth returns, or a fallen tree opens a patch of fresh ground, and the long wait ends. The spore swells, splits, and sends out its first thread at last. So the soil is full of life held in waiting, a hidden store of spores ready to begin, season after season, whenever the right moment finally arrives. It is a deep kind of readiness, asking nothing while it waits. The forest carries its own renewal in the ground beneath it, resting until the day it is needed. A deep forest soil is not made in a season or even a lifetime. It is built grain by grain over centuries, as the web and the roots and the fallen leaves slowly weave it together. Each year adds only a little, a thin fall of leaves, a few threads more, a faint new layer of the dark, crumbly earth that holds the whole forest up. So the ground beneath an old wood holds a kind of long memory, the trees that grew and fell here, the fires and the floods, the slow work of countless seasons, all written into the soil. This is why a broken soil is so slow to heal. What took 500 years to build cannot be remade in 5, and a forest cleared too often loses a richness it cannot soon win back. To stand on an old forest floor is to stand on the work of ages, a deep, living record of all the wood has been, held safe in the ground for the trees still to come. For all its age and reach, the web is easily hurt. It is built of threads finer than hair, spread through the topmost soil, and that is just the part our tools disturb the most. A plough dragged through a field cuts the net to pieces. Where there was one connected web binding the soil, there are now torn scraps, the long threads broken and the links undone. The fungi can grow back, given time and rest, but a field plowed hard every year never gets that time. Its web stays broken, thin, and weak, season after season. And a soil with a broken web is a poorer soil. It holds less water, loses more of itself to wind and rain, and leans ever harder on what the farmer must add by hand. So one of the quiet costs of how we farm is written underground, in the cutting of a net we cannot see. A net that left whole would do much of the work for us. The plough is not the only harm. Certain chemicals spread on the land to kill pests or weeds also kill the fungi, stripping the soil of its hidden partners along with its trouble. Even kindness can hurt it. Heaping a soil with rich fertilizer tells the plants they no longer need their fungi, and the old partnership in time fades from disuse. Heavy machines pack the soil down hard, closing the small spaces the threads need to breathe and grow. A compacted ground is a difficult home for the web. None of this is done out of malice. It is simply done without the web in mind, because for a long time we did not know it was there, working below, asking only to be left a little undisturbed. But knowing changes things. Once you know the web is there, every choice above the ground becomes in part a choice about the life below, and that is a hopeful thing to learn. When a forest is cleared, more is lost than the trees. The web that took centuries to weave beneath them begins to unravel the moment the roots that fed it are gone. With no leaves to send sugar down, the mycorrhizal threads starve. The great net thins and fades, and the soil it held together begins to wash and blow away. This is part of why a cleared forest is so hard to bring back. The new trees we plant arrive into a ground whose web has died, and they must wait for it to slowly form again. Where patches of old forest and old web remain nearby, the recovery comes faster, the surviving net reaching out to join the new roots and carry them through their first years. So an old forest is, in part, an old soil and an old web. What grows back quickly is not only the trees we see, but the hidden net we never thought to count among the losses. The good news is that the web is willing to return. Give the soil a little rest and care, and the fungi come back on their own, threading the ground together once more. Farmers are learning the old new craft of working with it, plowing less or not at all, keeping the ground covered with living roots, and letting the web stay whole between the harvests. In damaged land, people now sometimes add the fungi back on purpose, mixing spores or threaded soil among the roots of new plants to give the web a head start. And in the wild, the simplest cure is patience. Left alone, broken ground will heal itself from below, the pioneers and their fungi quietly weaving a new net through the years. So the story of the web need not be one of loss. It can as easily be one of return, of a hidden world coming back in time to life wherever we let the soil rest. You do not need a wild forest to find the web. It runs beneath the parks and gardens of cities, under the lawns and the lines of street trees, wherever a root finds soil. The great trees that shade a city street are joined to fungi too, drawing water and minerals from the cramped soil beneath the pavement through the same ancient partnership. In a city park, the trees may be linked to one another underground, just as they are in a wood, a small wood-wide web threading quietly beneath the benches and the paths. It is a quiet comfort to know, Even in the heart of a busy place, hemmed in by stone and noise, the old net is there in the dark soil doing its faithful work. So wherever you are tonight, deep in the country or high in a city, there is almost surely soil within reach, and within that soil some thread of the web, alive and at work. After all this, a forest can never quite look the same again. Where once you saw a crowd of separate trees, you may now sense the hidden net that joins them under the ground. The old picture was of competition, each tree a rival, reaching alone for its share of the light, root against root underground. The newer picture is gentler and truer. A forest is also a community, tied together by trade and signal below, raising its young and sharing its riches through the web. Neither picture is the whole truth. A forest both competes and shares above and below all at once. But the sharing was the part we long overlooked, and it changes everything. To walk into a wood now is to walk above a quiet society, countless lives joined in trading beneath the soil, holding the whole green world up from below. It is a fine thing to keep in mind. Let us pause here near the end, simply lying in your mind on the quiet ground of a wood at night, with the whole hidden web spread out in the soil beneath you, alive and at work. Feel the ground holding you up, as it holds the trees, as it holds the web. It has held the forests for ages, and it holds you now steady and sure beneath your weight. There is nothing you need to carry tonight. The web carries the forest, the ground carries the web, the slow earth carries it all. You can set your weight down and be carried too. Let your breath grow long and slow. With each one, let yourself sink a little further toward the ground and toward sleep, held safe above the quiet, living dark. In a moment we will speak of the long ages of the web, and then it will be time to say good night. For now, lie still on the ground that holds you and rest. Hold in your mind as the night deepens how old this web truly is. The partnership of root and fungus began some 400 million years ago when the first plants crept onto the land. That is long before there were flowers, long before there were trees as we know them, unimaginably long before any creature walked the ground on two legs to wonder about it. Through every age since, the rise of the great forests, the long reign of the dinosaurs, the slow coming of the flowers and the grasses, the web has gone on weaving root to fungus in the dark. Whole worlds of life have risen and passed away above it. The web simply carried on below, joining each new green thing to the soil as it always had, asking nothing, keeping its slow work. So the net beneath tonight's forest is not a new thing, nor a small one. It is one of the oldest living arrangements on earth, still quietly at work in the ground beneath you. And the web will likely go on long after us. It has weathered ice ages and great extinctions, droughts and floods, and the slow drift of the continents, and quietly endured them all. It does not depend on any one tree or one forest or one age of the world. When one falls, the threads simply join the next, carrying the old partnership forward into whatever comes. There is a deep calm in that thought. The small troubles of a single night, a single life, are nothing against a thing that has held on unbroken for 400 million years. Whatever the day asked of you, the web does not know it and does not need to. It will keep its slow work tonight and tomorrow and long past the reach of any worry you might carry. So you can let the day go. Lay it down on the old ground among the threads that have outlasted everything, and let the long patience of the web hold it for you while you sleep. If the web teaches one thing, it may be this, that almost nothing in the living world truly stands alone. What looks separate is, underneath, joined to a great deal else. A tree seems a single, self-standing thing, yet it is bound to its fungi to other trees, those trees to their own partners, on, until the whole forest is one connected fabric. And the tree itself is a community. Green cells and fungal threads, leaves and roots and partners, all living so closely woven that no clear line marks where one life ends and the next begins. It is a pattern we find everywhere once we look. Not many separate things, but one connected whole, joined by countless quiet threads we rarely see. There is comfort in that, deep down. To be joined is the ordinary way of living things. Beneath the surface, the whole green world is holding hands in the dark. So much of the world is like this web, vast, vital, and hidden from us. We see the leaves and miss the roots. We see the forest and miss the net that holds it up. Half of every tree roughly lies underground out of sight, and woven through that buried half is the web, larger and older than the tree, quietly doing the work that lets the visible half live. It is humbling and somehow restful to remember how much goes on without us, how much of the world runs unseen below the surface, needing no witness, asking no thanks. You do not have to see a thing for it to hold you up. The web has fed the forests for ages with no one watching. It will do the same tonight while you close your eyes. So let the unseen half of the world go on without your watching. It is in good order. It has always been. You can rest and leave the dark to its quiet, faithful work. Think once more of how the web works, with no leader, no plan, no mind anywhere within it, and yet out of its countless small and simple acts, a whole forest is fed and held together. Each thread only follows what is right beside it. A little food here, a little water there, a richer patch to grow toward. From millions of such small responses, the order of the whole arises. It is one of the quiet truths of this world that great and beautiful order can rise from the bottom up, with no one in charge, simply from many small things doing their part. The forest above runs the same way, no tree in command, yet the whole wood standing balanced and whole, and the wider living world in its way is built of the same unhurried, leaderless order. There is rest in trusting that order. Not everything needs a hand to guide it. Some things, like the web, simply hold themselves together and have done so calmly for an unimaginable time. There is a strange echo between the very small and the very large. The fine web of threads beneath the forest looks, in its branching pattern, a little like the great web of the stars across the sky. Both are nets, points joined by faint threads, spread through the dark, too large or too fine to take in all at once. One lies beneath your feet, the other arches far overhead. And you lie between them tonight, the web of the soil below, the web of the stars above, and your own small, warm life at rest in the space between the two. It is a fine place to be, held between the deep old net of the earth and the vast bright net of the heavens, with nothing asked of you but to breathe and be still and rest. So let the two webs hold you. Below, the threads keep the forest; above, the stars keep their slow turning, and you between them can let go and drift down into sleep. Perhaps this is why the web is such a restful thing to think on. It speaks in its quiet way to something we feel deeply, that to be joined to others is the natural way to live. No tree in the web is truly on its own. The young are carried, the strong share with the struggling, and even the dying pass on what they have to the forest they leave behind. There is something in that picture that loosens the chest a little, a reminder that being held and holding others is woven into the oldest ways of life on this earth. You are part of that same living world. Whatever the day made you feel, you are not in the end a thing apart. Like the trees, you rest tonight within a wider whole that holds you. So take that comfort with you down towards sleep. The web holds the forest holds its own, and the long joined life of the world goes quietly on with you, a small and welcome part of it. Above the web now, the forest itself is settling into night. The light has gone from the leaves, the birds have fallen quiet, and the trees stand dark and still against the last of the sky. The day's slow business of the leaves is done. High up, the trees have closed their work of catching light, and the sugar they made is sinking down, as it does each night, toward the roots and the web. Below, in the cool dark, the threads carry on as they always do, taking in the night's quiet share of sweetness, passing up their water and minerals, keeping the slow trade through the dark hours. The whole forest, above and below, breathes slow and even now, settled into the long calm of the night, in no hurry for the morning, at rest in its own deep way. Let yourself settle with it. The forest is at rest, the web is at its quiet work, the night is long and calm. There is nothing left to do now but join them and sleep. We have come a long way down tonight, from a single teaspoon of soil to a web around the world, from one thin thread to the largest living thing on earth. And we end where we began, on the quiet ground of a wood, with the whole of it now spread out in your mind. The roots, the threads, the trade, the warnings, the slow and ancient sharing in the dark. It is one living ground, not a floor we stand upon, but a vast, joined, breathing thing, alive in every grain, holding the green world up from below. And you have been resting on it all this while, held by the same ground that holds the forest, above the same web that has woven the world's soils for an age beyond counting. There is nothing more to learn tonight, and nothing left to do. The journey down is finished. All that remains is to let go the last of the way, and sink into sleep upon the living ground. So tonight, as you drift the last of the way down into sleep, you can carry one quiet thought with you. Beneath you in the cool dark soil, an ancient web is joining tree to tree, and you're resting safely above it. Somewhere below, sugar is sinking down into the threads, water is rising toward the roots, and a great old tree is feeding a seedling in its shade through the dark. None of it asks anything of you. The web will tend the forest until morning, as it has for 400 million years, while you let go and sink toward rest. Thank you for spending this hour with us. If this video helped you find rest, please subscribe. It is what allows us to keep producing long nights like this one, slow visits through the quiet science of fungi and the hidden web beneath the forest, voiced gently and meant for sleep. Good night. Outside this video, the night is still going. Somewhere beneath you tonight, in the cool, dark soil under the trees, countless pale threads of fungus are at work without a sound, joining root to root, carrying water and food through the dark, as they have done beneath the world's forests for hundreds of millions of years. Tomorrow comes when it comes. Until then, sleep deeply. Good night from the Circadian Institute.